So if you guys missed it yesterday night, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado got in a little bit of a shouting match, and the media is kind of taking this and spinning it in a weird direction. In my opinion, we're going to break it down in just a moment, but to me, it was nothing more than a big brother, little brother moment. I think nothing of this. But either way, what's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. I know that football is on, but there is so much to talk about from yesterday's games. Also, if you're going to any baseball games anytime soon, make sure that you use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to save yourself $20 off your entire ticket order. Bryce Harper is yet again carrying the Phillies. The A's, their hot streak continues, and Max Scherzer versus Corbin Burns, they both pitched yesterday. So who's going to be the Cy Young Award frontrunner after yesterday's games? We'll have to check. Now, speaking of Corbin Burns, let's go ahead and talk about the Brewers versus Cubs game yesterday. Lorenzo Cain, what a catch in the second inning. I am definitely going to show my kids Lorenzo Cain highlights because he puts 100% effort into every single play. Manny Pena hits a home run, and then Urias, his web gem, saves a run from scoring. Now, a run does score, but he saved it from 2 runs. Escobar goes yard, and then Ian Happ for the Cubs, he answers with a 2-run home run. He now officially has a 100 OPS plus on the season. We've been tracking him for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's batting .360 with 9 home runs over his last 23 games. Corbin Burns, he allows 3 earned runs yesterday, but he carves up 11 Cubs in the process of going through 6 innings. Jace Peterson, he delivers, and then Wilson Contreras does the same for his own team, but then Manny Pena, he knocks out his second of the game. Colton Wong has an RBI infield single, and Josh Hader, he racks up his 33rd save. So Milwaukee, they have officially made the playoffs as they beat the Brewers 6-4. So because we talked about Corbin Burns, let's talk about Max Scherzer. This was an easy game for the Dodgers. It was a shutout through the first 4, but then some bad defense sets up Gavin Lux, who drives in 2 RBIs on a triple. Then Gavin Lux is able to score on an Austin Barnes ground out. Chris Taylor, he puts a bunt in play for another run for Max Scherzer, and Scherzer goes 7 shutout innings with 7 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed. In his first 9 starts with the Dodgers, Max Scherzer has a .79 ERA. His ERA for the season is barely sitting above 2. So in my opinion, if the season ended today, I would probably give it to Scherzer, even though Corbin Burns, I think he's been a little bit more valuable because the Brewers, they desperately needed him in the second half, and he has delivered in almost every single start aside from yesterday, but they still won the game. So let me know in the comment section down below, who would you give the Cy Young Award to, Scherzer or Corbin Burns? Moving on over to the Cardinals versus the Padres. This is where Tatis and Manny got in a little beef. Tommy Pham and Victor Caratini able to get to the old man, Adam Wainwright, in the 4th inning with 2 RBI singles. And then in the 5th, this is where Tatis strikes out, and he wasn't really keen of this call, so he was going back to the umpire, but then the manager for the Padres, Tingler, he steps in and gets rung. So Manny Machado was basically saying, hey man, you can't be doing this. This is not about you. This is about the playoffs, and that's what he said right here. And also, there's some choice words, so you've been warned. All I saw was Manny Machado saying, hey, this is playoff time. We have to stick together and realize that we're not just individual players. So to me, I really like what Manny Machado did yesterday. And also, he even told Fernando that he's the best. So it's not like he was calling him out and saying he sucks and that he's selfish. So I don't mind that at all. And Yu Darvish, he got some help from the umpire later on in the game. So it went both ways. I feel bad for Tyler O'Neill on this one because the ball was almost a foot out. So Darvish tosses 7 shutout innings on 9 strikeouts, only 3 base hits. But Emilio Pagan, he has been horrible. He has been allowing so many home runs in the second half. He allows number 28 to Tyler O'Neill, and Gallegos, he has stole the closing spot from Alex Reyes with his 9th save. And the Cardinals, they went 3-2 over the Padres, which is huge in the wild card. The Phillies faced off against the Mets in another close wild card matchup. Gene, the hit machine, he starts off the game by blasting 2 home runs in the first 3 innings. He's almost batting .300 with a 120 OPS plus on the season. Aaron Nola, he shredded apart the Mets lineup yesterday, striking out 9 and 5 2/3, only walking 1. But the score was 2-1 going into the later innings, so enter Brad Hand, so the score is not going to be 2-1 anymore. Freddie Galvis has an RBI double that was immediately followed up by a 2 RBI double from Bryce Harper. Ian Kennedy has a 1-2-3 9th inning for his 24th save, and the Phillies are on a 4-game winning streak. They have to keep this up because the Braves, they were facing up against the Giants, and the Braves lost yesterday 2-0. Even Duggar, now I know he doesn't make the grab, but he still kept the ball in play, and then Littell strikes out 3 to escape that jam. Kirk Casale was Captain Clutch yesterday with a 2 RBI single in the 4th inning, and Brandon Belt, he turns a massive double play later on. And speaking of double plays, Leon is able to induce one to end the game. So San Francisco, that was their 16th shutout of the season. The Braves are the exact opposite of the Phillies. The Phillies have won 4 in a row. The Braves have lost 4 in a row. So let's talk about the wild card. The Cardinals are 2 games ahead for second place. The Reds are 2 games back of the Cardinals, while the Phillies and the Padres are now tied for 2.5 games back, and the Mets are 7 games back, so it looks like their season is over. But the Phillies are just 1 game back of first place in the NL East, so we have to take a look at that for the remainder of the season, because that could be just as crazy as the wild card. Now, before we talk about the wild card standings in the American League, let's do a quick fast cap from yesterday's games that weren't really all that meaningful. You have the Rockies shutting out the Nationals. Brendan Rodgers continues his breakout year with his 14th home run. Trevor Story goes the other way in the 4th for a 3-run dong, and Colorado ends up turning like 3 or 4 double plays for an easy win, and the Rockies are just 6 games back of the Padres in the NL West. The Pirates, they beat the Marlins 6-3. The Pirates better send a thank you basket to the Marlins defense, because they allowed 3 runs for poor Edward Cabrera, who had 7 strikeouts in 4 innings, but 3 runs, 0 of them were earned. Park is able to bring in 2 on a triple in the 5th inning, and the Pirates, they take the W after a sloppy game from the Marlins. But at least Nick Fortes got his first home run as a big leaguer. The Rangers versus the White Sox, Yasmani Grandal ties it up on his 21st, but DJ Peters, his single in the 6th inning is able to give the Rangers a 2-1 lead, and Adolis Garcia takes away an extra base hit from Yoan Moncada later on in the game as Scott Barlow secures his 7th save. He has a 1.46 ERA. The Diamondbacks, they beat the Astros, even though Yordan kickstarts the game with his 31st home run. The Diamondbacks, they go off for 3 runs in the 4th inning. Correa, he has a sac fly later on to bring home Yuli Gurriel, but Yuli actually left the bag early. The Diamondbacks were going to challenge this, but Kyle Tucker, with genius level IQ, he purposely gets picked off so they cannot review the last play, because they can only review the last out, which would have been the pickoff. Very smart. This one has to go to extras, where Calhoun and Varsho, they drive in 3, and Clippard, he saves it. The Tigers versus the Rays, Baddoo gets on base from a lefty base hit. Scope gets on, and then Jamir Blast, a 3-run home run to dead center. Dustin Garneau hits another massive home run in the 2nd for a huge insurance run, because the Rays, they storm back courtesy of some pop and defense to make it 4-3. Michael Fulmer has a scary 9th inning with 2 on and nobody out, but he Case Phillips, and Yanni grounds into a double play. So Detroit is now 31-27 in the 2nd half, and they have been playing very well against really good teams. And that does it for the fast cap. Let's go ahead and get into the AL wildcard standings. Cleveland, they dismantled the Yankees yesterday. Yu Chang hits home run number 8. This one goes 430 feet. Joey Gallo, our friend, unfortunately has to leave with a neck injury, and the game just went all downhill from there. Gary has an error. Then there was a hit by pitch. Then J. Raymond gets on, and Franmil brings home Mercado. Yu Chang delivers again with a 2 RBI double, but they weren't done just yet. Owen Miller has an RBI single right before Andres Gimenez with a 3-run pimp job, easily his biggest moment as a member of Cleveland so far. That makes it 8-0 after Franmil and J. Ram pour some salt in the wound. The game ends with an 11-3 box score. Franmil now has 30 home runs and 80 RBIs after missing 43 games, and Jose Ramirez has 34 home runs and 24 stolen bases. Luis Hill, the starting pitcher of that game for the Yankees, he was sent down after he had 12 walks in his last 13 innings. The Red Sox faced off against the Orioles, and Ryan Mountcastle made some history for Baltimore. He passes Cal Ripken with his 30th rookie home run, a franchise record. But Boston, they answer in the bottom of the 1st. Devers has an RBI. Bobby Dahlbeck drives in 2 on a double. He has been the team MVP in the 2nd half. Xander Bogaerts drives in another in the 5th, and Hunter Renfroe drives in more right before Xander Blast, a 3-run home run, as the Red Sox, they have the most doubles in all of Major League Baseball at 310. The next best is 283. So the Red Sox, they are trying to compete with the Jays for first place in the wild card, and the Jays won yet again yesterday against the Twins. It was a perfect day for Toronto fans, because Donaldson goes yard, their former MVP, but the Jays win because Marcus Semien, he is the 5th second baseman in Major League Baseball history to have a 40 home run season. Teoscar Hernandez says, "Don't mind if I do," a 3-run home run. That was his 28th. He now has 1 106 RBIs, passing his teammate Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like, slow down. We want Vladdy to get the triple crown. Steven Matz has 5 strikeouts in just under 6 innings, and Bo knocks in 2 more in the 7th inning and gets some help from Vlad in the 8th, as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is able to pick this ball from Bo. Now, the Jays have 4 guys with 25 plus home runs and 95 plus RBIs. It is going to be hard to stop that offense. The A's faced off against the Angels. Matt Olson has now tied his career high with 36 home runs. Chad Pinder and Matt Chapman, they drive in 2 more for a 3-run first inning, and that was it for the rest of the game for Oakland. James Caprillion, he dialed in for 6 shutout innings, only allowed 2 hits, and Josh Harrison, look at this play right here. His leaping snow cone grab in the 9th inning, he saves the game, and the A's are now 7-3 in their last 10, and they're on a 4-game winning streak. They are just ahead of the Mariners now because the Mariners got smoked by the Royals 8-1. Whit Merrifield scores on a wild pitch. Mondesi grabs another RBI, and Michael Taylor had an RBI double right before a home run in the 5th inning. Bubich was really good, almost 7 innings, only allowed 1 earned run on 2 base hits, and then the Royals, they erupt for 4 runs in the 8th inning without a single extra base hit. And in the midst of all of that madness, Salvador Perez grabs RBI number 113. So even if Teoscar is ahead of Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I don't think that Vlad is going to be able to catch up to Salvi. So that's a tough loss for the Mariners because the wild card is now looking like Boston is 1 game ahead of everyone. The Jays are sitting at a half game ahead of the Yankees. The A's are 2 games back, and the Mariners, they fall to 4 games back. All right, everyone, well, that does it for today's MLB recap. I tried to go a little bit quicker today because I know that football's on and I want to save you guys some time. So if you appreciate that, leave a like and subscribe. Save yourself some money if you're going to any baseball games. Use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek and enjoy this day in MLB history.
And deals. Strike 3, ball game over, Yankees win, and it's perfect because the greatest closer in history now has the most saves in history. With 602, he moves ahead of Trevor Hoffman, and he stands alone.